If you want the New York Football Giants to go 7-1, if you want to beat the Seattle Seahawks this week, sub for Giants dubs. We're subbing for Giants dubs. Don't jinx it. Hit that big red button. We put out videos every single day on the latest Giants news and rumors. We go live every Wednesday, and we go live every Sunday. So if you want to beat the Seahawks, go down right now and hit that big red button. What's up, everybody? You're watching New York Giants Now by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Marshall Green. In today's show, we're going to go over 5 trade targets that I could see the New York Football Giants pursuing before the November 1st trade deadline. There's been some rumors out there. I'm not sure if the Giants will make a big trade. I'm not saying the Giants are going to trade for one of these guys. But when I was my job, it's to talk about the biggest and the hottest rumors surrounding this football team. And I went and did some research, got into the lab, started searching some stuff up. And these were the 5 guys' names that I have heard most link to the New York Football Giants. So let's talk about it. Let's start with the defensive playmaker, a guy that's kind of fallen out of the defensive rotation for the Arizona Cardinals. And that is former first-round pick linebacker Isaiah Simmons. This is a guy that can do it all. Hasn't really got it going too much with the Arizona Cardinals. Only played 34% of the snaps his rookie year on defense. His sophomore season, though, in 2021, he was a playmaker. He was a difference maker, and he was the heartbeat of that defense. Played 92% of the snaps. But look at this year. Only played 66% of the snaps. You never want to see your snap count go down by almost 30% year to year. He's a good football player. Look at that 2021 season. 105 tackles, 4 tackles for loss, an interception. He also had 4 forced fumbles. This is a guy that I feel like just isn't being used properly. Imagine him in a Wink Martindale scheme where they could use him as a blitzer. They could use him as a little bit of a slot DB because he could do that. He did that at Clemson. Imagine this guy playing all over the football field for the New York Giants. I think him in a Wink Martindale system is truly a match made in heaven. And let's be honest, guys. The Giants inside linebacker depth chart, outside of receivers, I think it's the least talented position group on this team. I like Jalen Smith, but I liked him a lot more 4 years ago. I like Tay Crowder, but he's Mr. Irrelevant. He was the last pick in the NFL draft a couple of years ago. He just doesn't get off of blocks good enough. Coughlin, Brown, and Calitro, McFadden, Landon Collins. We'll see what Landon Collins does in the coming weeks. I expect his snap count to go up every single week. But there's no elite players on this team. Isaiah Simmons would step in and be the Giants' #1 playmaker at the inside linebacker spot. And our rush defense just isn't good. We allow 144 yards per game on the ground. Go back to that Jags game. Travis Etienne ran all over us. We give up the 28th most rush yards in the NFL. Adding a guy like Isaiah Simmons could be someone that bolsters up this run defense. Another guy that could help the run defense, what about Roquan Smith? You might say to yourself, why would we trade for Roquan? The Bears aren't trading Roquan. Remember before the season he requested a trade? Who got traded on Wednesday? Robert Quinn. The Bears are selling. They don't want to pay big money to an inside linebacker at the end of the season. So we just talked about Simmons. Now let's talk about another linebacker. Roquan Smith is 100% a better player than Isaiah Simmons. Would it cost a little bit more in a trade? Most likely. But look at his stats. This guy already has 78 tackles in 7 games so far this year. He's also could be used as a blitzer, 2.5 sacks. He could play good pass defense. He has 1, 3, 4, 6 interceptions in the past 2 years. He's a do-it-all linebacker. He could be on the field for all 3 plays. Him in a Wink Martindale system would be absolutely perfect. I would do a lot to give up Roquan Smith. Probably wouldn't give up a first-round pick, maybe a second-round pick. The Giants are going to inevitably draft an inside linebacker one day. What about just going out and getting a proven guy? We just talked about 2 linebackers back-to-back. So I want to ask this question. If you had to pick a linebacker to trade for, between one of these 2 guys, who would it be? Type IS for Isaiah Simmons or type RS for Roquan Smith. If you had to pick one of these guys, realize it's going to cost more to get Roquan. He's a better player. Would be cheaper to get Isaiah Simmons. I think he's got a little bit more upside. I think he's a little bit more of a do-it-all player, and I don't think we've nearly tapped into the type of player he is. I'd be ecstatic if the Giants got either one of these guys, but I want the real ones to decide. Who would you rather have, IS or RS? I also want to give a shout out to our proud sportsbook partner, BetUS. When you go to chatsports.com/bet and use that promo code chat125, they're going to hook you guys up with a 125% deposit bonus. What does that mean? Put $100 in your account, they'll match it. They'll give you a free $125. Bet on the Giants. Bet on money line. I've done it every single week, and I'm pretty freaking rich because of it. Be like me. Chatsports.com/bet. Make sure you use the promo code or you won't get the deposit bonus. Promo code chat125. Outside of inside linebackers, I think our biggest need is wide receiver. And I don't think I'm breaking any news here by saying that. What about DJ Moore? Carolina Panthers, they just traded Christian McCaffrey. We needed a wide receiver one. DJ Moore is that guy. Look at the stats. 1,000 yards in back-to-back-to-back seasons. And he's done this with terrible quarterbacks. Cam Newton, Sam Darnold. I like P.J. Walker, but this ain't the XFL. He's a good backup. He did it with Teddy Bridgewater. He's doing it with this guys that, quite frankly, aren't Daniel Jones. 93 grabs in 2021 with Sam Darnold. He's also a generator with the football in his hands. He's a yards after catch machine. Imagine Odell Beckham Jr., but not as twitchy. He's truly a running back when he gets the ball in his hands in the open field. I think DJ Moore would be a perfect fit on this team. Not just because we need a wide receiver, but I think he fits the philosophical needs and wants of a coordinator like Mike Kafka. We can't continue to bring out this wide receiver unit. Look, I like Wan'Dale Robinson. I think he's going to be a great wide receiver in this league for a long time. I don't know if a 5'8", 185-pound receiver is the guy that you want being your number one wide receiver. I like Richie James, but he's a wide receiver 5. I like David Sills if he's on my practice squad. I like Darius Slayton. We know what type of talent he has. We know he can stretch the field. Who knows if he's going to catch it? I mean, look at these stats, guys. The Giants are 6-1, and they don't have a healthy wide receiver on their team that has more than 192 receiving yards. It is incredible. But Daniel Jones, who's thrown for 6 yards with these wide receivers, compared to Jalen Hurts, who's thrown for 6 touchdowns when he's throwing to A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith is somehow an MVP, but Daniel Jones is not. I don't get it. Give Daniel Jones, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and he would light it up. Giants need to add a wide receiver. So let's talk about another one that's on the trade block right now. Jerry Jeudy. The Denver Broncos have been getting a lot of calls on the former first-round wide receiver out of Alabama, and it's because he hasn't really lived up to the hype, and supposedly him and Russell Wilson don't get along all that well. He hasn't been the guy that has lived up to the hype, I would say, through the first 3 years of his career. He was touted as a guy that was going to be the best wide receiver in that draft class. Hasn't worked out. You know, he hasn't played with elite QBs, Teddy Bridgewater and Drew Lock. Russell Wilson, I don't know what to make of him. I don't think he's that guy anymore, but it just hasn't worked out for Jerry Jeudy. Would I give up a first-round pick for him? No. Second-round pick? Maybe. I feel a little bit more comfortable with a second-round pick. So I'll ask you. I'd take either of these wide receivers. We're doing a couple of questions where I want you guys to pick. You're going to have to give up a first-round pick for DJ Moore. Probably a second-round pick for Jerry Jeudy. So with that in mind, pick one of these guys to trade for. DJ for DJ Moore, JJ for Jerry Jeudy, first-round pick for DJ, second-round pick for Jerry Jeudy. Let me know which one you would rather have on this team. Vote in the comments right now. With the Giants having injuries with Daniel Bellinger at the tight end spot, what about a guy that's been heavily linked in trade rumors since the start of the NFL season? What about tight end Mike Gesicki for the Miami Dolphins? And the reason we're talking about it is because Daniel Bellinger, I don't know if he's even going to play again this season. Adam Schefter tweeted this out a couple of days ago saying, Bellinger will undergo surgery this week on his fractured eye socket. Ow. Bellinger will be out indefinitely, and it is uncertain whether he will play again this season. The Giants did just sign the undrafted free agent Andre Miller to their practice squad. He was a guy that was going to make this roster before he hurt his wrist. Could they look to go add a legit special playmaker at the tight end spot in Mike Gesicki? Because that's what he is. He's one of the most physical specimens. He's an athletic freak. He just hasn't found his way with the Miami Dolphins and in this new system ran by Mike McDaniel. 73 catches last year, only has 18 receptions this year. It's a guy that's been mentioned in trade rumors time and time again, kind of fallen out of the rotation with the Miami Dolphins. They don't really like him because he's not an elite blocker. I know our tight ends are that, but he would be our most talented receiver. Last year, he lined up at the receiver spot like 80% of the time. This is someone that could stretch the seam. He could run right down the middle of the field. If you put a linebacker on him, he's too slow. You put a DB on him, they're too small. Mike Gesicki is a mismatch guy running all over the field. I'd love to see him in Giants blue. Not necessarily sure this one would happen. A lot of people are talking about it, so I'm going to talk about it. Would they trade for him? I don't know. We need a tight end. He's a tight end on a trade market. So I wanted to talk about him on today's show. Maybe you don't want to trade for any of the guys that I mentioned. Or maybe you do. Let me know. Name someone you want the Giants to trade for. Go down in the comment section. It doesn't have to be one of the guys that I named, or it can be. I want to hear from you, though. Name someone you want the Giants to trade for in the comment section right now. And as always, I appreciate everybody that's made New York Giants Now a part of their day today. Everyone's got busy schedules. Everyone's got a busy life. For everyone that's tuned in, I appreciate you. Let's hit a real one roll call down in the comments right now.